91.3 FM, WBNY Buffalo, Buffalo's Real Alternative since 1982. Brought to you by the Buffalo State College Student Activity Fee. I am DJ Nick Lippa, and we have a special guest today coming out. Tony, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Hey, Tony. Why don't you introduce yourself to everybody who's listening?
Oh, everybody that's listening, I am Toney Rhodes, keyboard player, piano player, producer, musician, husband, father, brother, friend from Buffalo, New York.
And an absolutely wonderful musician with a new CD coming out this Friday.
Yes.
Should be really, really good stuff. Go check it out, people. We're going to talk to Tony a little bit right now, get to know him, and play a little bit of his stuff over the next half hour or so. So, Tony, I got a question for you right now. Having parents who are musicians, it probably didn't take long for you to realize that being a musician was, in a sense, your calling.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Kind of being forced into it. You know, my mother, who played the organ and taught choirs in church, and my dad played the guitar, but mostly played the radio. Kind of, I was around it all the time, so it was kind of just an easy catch for me.
Yeah, and it definitely comes through in your music, but it seems like there's just a ton of influences when you're talking about, especially just starting off with your first track, 710. There is a lot going on in that track. You can tell you definitely have a diversified background there. So you talked about the radio a little bit right there. What did you listen to as a kid and such?
Well, as a kid, I listened to all gospel all the time. My parents really didn't let me listen to any gospel. However, when I was about 14 or 15 years old, my uncle gave me a box of tapes. That says how old I am, but in this box of tapes was everything from Spiral Gyra, Yellow Jackets, Billy Cobham, George Duke, George Gershwin, Tanya Marie, George Duke, I said him already, George Duke again, Jeff Lorber, Chick Corea, Oscar Peterson, you name it. It was in this box, and ever since then, I was a sophomore in high school. I just found what I loved in it. So I just dove into it and doused myself and became a musical sponge.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Again, when you listen to some of this album, you can definitely hear your influences coming through. Again, specifically, and we'll play this song in a little bit, 710. There's a little pause in the music at one point during that song, and all of a sudden, you're doing some really cool stuff. Just with the culmination, I swear I hear, it's like a mixture of gospel and like a little bit of soul, and then you hear some stuff that I thought I would hear like Chick do, and all of a sudden it just comes in here, and it's like, oh man, it sounds something that like Chick would do, but it's in this whole new context, and it's got this really quirky vibe to it. It's awesome.
Right, thanks.
Yeah, it's awesome. You seem to, quite fortunate as well. You had a chance to grasp the attention of Eric Reed. How did that happen?
Well, Eric Reed is anybody in Buffalo knows, he's a legend in this town, and I was fortunate enough to be born in his house, so I was around Eric Reed like from birth. So growing up in music, him knowing my family and my family knowing his family, once he seen my love and my passion for music, he kind of just. I can't even say that he took me under his wing, because he really didn't. I kind of just followed him around town, and everything he did, I wanted to do. From, when I was that age, I kind of even looked like him. So I grew my beard like him, I grew my hair like him, I dressed like him, I tried to play like him, but he is the number one on my list. I owe a whole lot to that guy.
Wow, so did your parents know Eric Reed?
Yes. I think Eric is my mother's god brother or something like that.
Oh wow, so a little family connection there to Eric Reed.
Right.
Very cool. So now and we've talked a little bit about this, just your diversity here, working with other artists. It allows you to dabble in all sorts of genres, blues, pop, funk, and reggae. Do you implement different genres into your own personal style playing on the piano?
Well, yes, of course. The room dictates what you play, even when it comes to writing. The room, how you feeling at that moment. If you're feeling a little bluesy, it comes out. And me playing for different artists, even around town, when you have to play a certain style of music, the job is to play that style of music. So whether it's blues or reggae or soul or funk or gospel, you just have to. And I'm one that like to play things authentic, so that makes me go study that genre of music so that I can really make it authentic when the person hears it.
Absolutely, and that's something that a lot of musicians forget about, is just being able to play with the audience. Feel the room.
Right.
Do you feel like that when you're up on stage? There's certain days where maybe you're playing for the same place more than once. Do you have two different styles that come up, or does one style come out more than the other, even at the same venue?
Yeah, well, the room totally dictates what happens. I was taught a long time ago that a good performer doesn't ask what song to sing, but they ask who's in the audience. So when you know who's in the audience, that totally takes over. You can sing the same song every night, but if the audience is different, it will be sold differently.
Absolutely. Another opportunities you're talking about right now. How did you land the opportunity to collaborate with the Wooten Brothers and the Steve Miller Band? That's pretty crazy, man.
Well, one Wooten brother in particular. Us music heads, we know of the Wooten, which is, I hate to say it like that, but which is Victor Wooten. And when one of my friends growing up was a bass player, so when I learned about Victor Wooten, it was like one of my favorites. But then maybe a couple years ago, Joseph Wooten comes in town in Buffalo a lot. So when I heard he was a Wooten, I wanted to meet him. I wanted to, just learn from him. So I introduced myself to him, and when he comes in town, we're able to sit down and kind of shed a little bit. And he can show me. I just try to milk everything I can because he's just such a plethora of knowledge. So the one Wooten brother is Joe Wooten, and he comes in town a lot. And very good guy, good mentor, just a good human being.
Oh, any funny stories by chance about any of the Wooten brothers?
No, not really, not yet. Stand by, stay tuned.
Man, obviously a lot of people who are listening who know of the Wooten brothers, just absolutely tremendous musicians, and I think it says something about you, Toney, as well. And when people hear some of your stuff soon, they're gonna say the same thing. Man, what a tremendous musician. Creating the music that is sometimes is piano based. Do you find it difficult to express yourself or send a message through your music without lyrics?
Not really. I always tell people I think in piano. So the easiest way for me to even learn music is sitting at the piano. So that's my easiest way. That's my best voice, is to speak in piano, and to when I get down or when I'm happy, the best thing I can do, my only outlet, is to sit down at the piano and play.
Now, there's a couple of different voices you have through piano, a couple of different, toys you can say you almost play with, whether it's synthesizers or whatnot. Is there anything you particularly like more than the other, any type of sound coming from a keyboard or piano that you prefer?
Well, number one is always a real piano. Nothing can beat that 9-foot baby grand, just the action, just the feel of it. However, the name Toney Rhodes is the name Toney Rhodes for a reason. That Fender Rhodes instrument is just an awesome instrument, and it's a whole different, it's like being schizophrenic. It's like having the piano side and the Rhodes side. It's a totally different monster.
Oh man, I can tell you, some of my favorite stuff is listening to guys like Jimmy Smith back in the day. Did you listen to any guys like that, growing up as well?
No, I didn't listen. I told you I listened to gospel.
Oh man, which had obviously big influence there with some of the gospel as well. But,
right, and then I was my mother was an organist, so I was raised with a B3 organ in my living room. So if that means anything.
I think it does. That's telling you where you come from, man. That's
right.
Which is again awesome. You definitely get the feel. Well, actually, we're gonna play a song for all the listeners out there right now. This one's his first song. I talked about it a little bit before. I just said I dig this so much. This is 710. This is off Toney Rhodes' new album. It's coming out Friday, right?
Yes.
Buffalo Spell. We're gonna play this, and we'll come back and talk a little more with Toney here on 91.3 FM WBNY. 91.3 FM, WBNY. Some really, really great stuff there. Tony, you there?
Yes, I am.
Oh, man, just absolutely just killer. I absolutely love it. All the little breaks, all the little things in there. Oh,
Thanks so much.
yeah, it's really great stuff. And just what I personally love is I love the melding of genres, and that's something that, you see so many things build off of jazz and whether it's there, funk, blues, all these kind of things. But, when you find that right in between and you have gospel right there as well, that kind of feel, that influence, it definitely comes through, and it just, it makes me just want to get up and dance, man.
Great.
But some absolutely great stuff. We heard on that track now, there's pretty upbeat, there's some great stuff, some really good jamming. I have a question as well, working with a lot of those voices. Where did you record this album?
I recorded in Buffalo at Mammoth Recording Studios on Main Street.
Oh, wow.
My friend Joseph Orlando.
Yeah, and because it came out really well, I really enjoyed the mix as well, and with so many different voices, it's a really interesting way to do it. I mean, you're talking about you're going from like saxophone to an electric guitar,
right?
And it matches up really good. That's the thing, that's just to put them together. That's one thing. Make it sound real well. That's another thing.
The guy on guitar, Kenny Hawkins, another local legend. Recording with everybody from Mary Jane Girls, Rick James, Joe Sample, Mickey Howard, everybody. So, it's, you can't beat that musicianship. So yeah. I wish I could take all the credit, but.
Now, have you played with him often?
Kenny Hawkins? Yeah. Well, when I started out playing with Eric, I started playing with Eric Reed, Kenny Hawkins, Jerry Livingston, and Preston Brown. So anybody that knows anything about Buffalo music, especially in gospel and church scene, those are the major hitters. Yeah,
and it comes through here, man. It sounds like you guys have a little bit of chemistry together when you're playing.
Oh, definitely. Another one of my mentors and teachers.
Oh, man, that's so awesome. Do you see your future as a musician expanding beyond Buffalo, or are you looking to stay local?
Well, I want to take it as it comes. Buffalo is home and will always be home. But if other opportunities comes, I will never, ever forget Buffalo. That's why I wanted to name this record The Buffalo Spell, because Buffalo just has this enchantment about it that kind of just permeates this area, and it's here. And people want that sound other places, and it's like you can hear them trying to reproduce it, but it's hard. It's just that spell that we're under here.
That's a great way to put it, actually. You said the inspiration for the Buffalo Spell is to zero in on the sound that has made the region of Western New York stand out in the industry throughout the years. Is that the music industry or the genre you focus in that makes the Western New York stand out?
Well, I think Buffalo has a sound, and I remember being in the studio and recording some tracks with Jerry Livingston and Kenny Hawkins. And we were playing, and I think we're going to play this song later, Therapy. But it just, they kept saying it just has that Buffalo sound. It's just that, that groove, hard-hitting funk sound that you, like you said, you got to dance, you got to tap your toe to. Yeah,
definitely do. And a great contrast as well. You talk about the difference between 710 and Therapy. If we can talk about that for a second, 710 really upbeat. Therapy, well, it's got that groove as well. It's just it's a whole different color.
Right.
How do you switch between those kind of feels? Do you have a certain method when you're choosing, especially programming on a CD? Was there a certain method you had between, what songs you were going to put in order?
It was all feeling. It's all a part of that spell. When I first wrote the song, I was at a rehearsal with Jerry and Kenny and my drummer and producer, Carl Flute Johnson, and we were sitting down and we just started playing this groove. And he turned around and looked at me and he said, "That's what you need. That's what you need." And the first thing that come to my head was, "Yeah, I need therapy." and that was the groove. I was recording the rehearsal. So when I went back and was like, I need to have that groove and develop that into a song.
Out of curiosity, has any of these songs come from just, starting off as kind of like a jam session and turned into, an actual song?
Oh, definitely. There's a song on there called The Sidebar. And the Sidebar is actually a place in Buffalo on Hurdle that me, Jerry, and Flute play at every month, and we open up our show with that song, and it's kind of a sound check song, and we ended up putting a melody to it and kind of jamming out on it.
Oh man, that's awesome. Yeah, as a lot of local musicians do to get together. A lot of musicians in Buffalo, for those who are listening, and we'll give more information too. I'll ask you in a second here, Tony. But they get out and they jam together in the community, and it's some great shows. But it's also again where some music starts. So let me ask that right now, Tony. Is there certain places that you play out?
Oh, definitely. I play out with a couple different bands, but around town I play with the band is called JFT, which stands for Jerry, Flute, and Tony. We play at the Sidebar every first Friday. We also play. We're going to start playing at the Pausa Art House on every third Friday. I play with another band called the Vitamin D Crew with Vinny DeRosa. That we're like a pop, soul, funk type ordeal where the head man is Vinny DeRosa. I play with a blues band, Mick Hayes. He's an awesome blues singer, good blues guitarist. That's an organ trio. I play B3 with him, and again with Flute Johnson on the drums. So and then at randomly who calls and need me on their gig filling in for something. So it's a lot. Every weekend there's something.
Oh, that is the truth. There's so much going on in the music scene here in Buffalo, and let me ask you that. In your opinion, how influential are local musicians on their community?
Well, very, very much so, especially me being in it. I know this Friday at Sidebar we are giving a legacy award to James Manuel, better known as J-Man. He's a local artist, piano player, and he's been around here forever. And we just thought that it would be cool to honor him for his contribution to the community and to the music that kind of got us all doing what we're doing. So I do believe that a lot of my friends in music, they do a lot, and very nice people, very giving hearts. Who sometimes could be our downfall, but we are so giving to the community and want everybody to be happy and want to be liked, and don't want any type of trouble. Just want everything to be smooth and groovy.
Yeah, most definitely, and I mean, as well, you're talking about local musicianship and stuff. You talked about Eric Reed being such a big influence on you. I mean,
right.
What we can see now, I mean, it's influenced your career.
Yeah. I always say he's my Michael Jordan. Everybody wanted to be like Michael Jordan coming up, to be like Eric Reed.
And I think there's maybe a couple other local musicians out there who may be able to relate to that as well.
Yes.
Well, I got one more question for you right now. Of all the songs that you've written, which one is your favorite and why?
Oh, man. That's a toughie. But I would have to say Therapy, maybe? I don't have a favorite.
It's hard to pick.
Yeah, I don't have a favorite. And then there was some that's not even on the record. So, I would have to if there was one that I can listen to over and over again, it would be Therapy.
Well, Therapy again, then that's off the second track off of your new album coming out this Friday.
Right.
And before we go right now, do you want to talk a little bit about Therapy specifically?
Well, like I said earlier, with the origin of it, it just came out started as a groove, and we just played it, and we just kept playing it. And Flute turned around and looked at me and said, "This is what you need. This is what you need." And me, with my schizophrenic self, saying, "Yes, I need therapy." So it's just a spellbinding groove that kind of just gets you. And then again, Kenny Hawkins, the way he solos over it, it's like the story was for him to, as the mentor, as the doctor, as the older one, he solos and says what he has to say, and then there's a point where we come together and he's kind of the handoff of the solo, and he gives it to me, and then I kind of just air out my problems through my solo.
That's absolutely great, man. Tony, thank you so much for coming on and talking.
Thanks for having me. Thanks.
And for everybody else who's listening out there, you can see Tony in multiple bands out in the community and playing. You can look him up on Facebook. Is there any other sources any Twitters or anything?
Oh, yes, I'm everywhere. Toney Rhodes 88, Twitter, Instagram, Everywhere. I'm everywhere. ToneyRhodes.com. Go to my website. You can go. I'm everywhere.
And I'll tell you what, we'll be playing some more of his stuff here. His album comes out Friday, and we'll be playing some stuff here on WBNY, including jazz from 3 to 6 here on 91.3 FM WBNY, as I said multiple times already. This is Toney Rhodes. Tony, thank you. We're going to play Therapy now, and hope you guys enjoy. I know I am. Thanks, Tony.
Thank you so much.